Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Viṣṇu Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janārana Yashodanandana Braja Janārana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnu Paramahansa Parabhajacharya Satarasata Shishama Isi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. All glories to the Asema devotees, all glories to the Asema devotees, all glories to the Asema devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Very auspicious. Okay. All right, so we are reading today Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, the appearance of Lord Varaha, chapter 13, verse 13. Okay. This is, I think I'm going to get up. I need a little more light. Yeṣām na tuṣṭo bhagavān yajña-liṅgo janārdana teṣāṁ śramo apārthāya yad ātmā nādṛtaḥ svayam yeṣām na tuṣṭo bhagavān yajña-liṅgo janārdana teṣāṁ śramo apārthāya yad ātmā nādṛtaḥ svayam. Please chant. tuṣṭo bhagavān yajña-liṅgo janārdana yeṣāṁ śramo apārthāya Yatmana svayam yeṣāṁ tuṣṭo bhagavān yeṣāṁ tuṣṭo bhagavān yeṣāṁ teṣāṁ śramo apārthāya ātmā nādṛtaḥ svayam yeṣāṁ tuṣṭo bhagavān yajña-liṅgo janārdana teṣāṁ śramo apārthāya ātmā nādṛtaḥ svayam tuṣṭo bhagavān yajña-liṅgo janārdana teṣāṁ śramo apārthāya ātmā nādṛtaḥ svayam. Jai Namo viṣṇu-padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhatale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Vishesha Shunibhari Bhasichadi Jatanine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhabhyev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. So this is my first time in Mayapur, and so I was looking for some service to do. So the only service that I was able to connect with was giving Srimad Bhagavatam. So you gotta, this is my service to the Dham and to you. Okay, so the synonyms. Yeṣām, of those with whom. Never. tuṣṭaḥ, satisfied. Bhagavān, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yajña-liṅgo, the form of sacrifice. Janārdana, Lord Kṛṣṇa, or the viṣṇu-tattva. Teṣām, of them. śramaḥ, labor. He, certainly. Apārthāya, without profit. Yat, because. Ātmā, the Supreme Soul. Not. ādṛtaḥ, respected. Svayam, his own self. So please repeat after me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janārdana, Lord Kṛṣṇa, is the form to accept all the results of sacrifice. If he is not satisfied, then one's labor for advancement is futile. He is the ultimate self, and therefore, one who does not satisfy him certainly neglects his own interests. Purport. Brahma is deputed as the supreme head of universal affairs, and he in his turn deputes Manu and others as charge d'affaires of the material manifestation. But the whole show is for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma knows how to satisfy the Lord, and similarly, persons engaged in the line of Brahma's plan of activities also know how to satisfy the Lord. The Lord is satisfied by the process of devotional service, consisting of the ninefold processes of hearing, chanting, etc. It is in one's own self-interest to execute prescribed devotional service, and anyone who neglects this process neglects his own self-interest. Everyone wants to satisfy his senses, but above the senses is the mind. Above the mind is the intelligence. Above the intelligence is the individual self. And above the individual self is the super self. Above even the super self is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, viṣṇu-tattva. The primeval Lord and the cause of all causes is Śrī Kṛṣṇa. The complete process of perfectional service is to render service for the satisfaction of the transcendental senses of Lord Kṛṣṇa, who is known as Janārdana. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Jnana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai. So I was thinking of, because here the Lord Kṛṣṇa is addressed as Janārdana, I was thinking of talking about Janārdana a little bit. Janārdana is the maintainer of all living entities, and he is addressed as Janārdana in various different places in the scriptures. Arjuna, when Arjuna was in doubt, in chapter 3, he was just so in doubt. What am I going to do? I can't kill my kinsman. And he addresses Lord Kṛṣṇa as Janārdana. I have the... well, just to tell you the verse. O Janārdana, O Keshava, why do you urge me to engage in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? Yeah, because Lord Kṛṣṇa was just explaining to Arjuna before that, he needs to use his intelligence and discriminate. And now Arjuna say, what? But how am I going to kill all my kinsmen? And he addresses Kṛṣṇa as Janārdana because all these warriors were going to get annihilated. And Kṛṣṇa is the maintainer of all living entities. So, and that is a little the discrepancy in Arjuna's mind. So that's how he's addressing Kṛṣṇa. You are the protector of all, and how am I supposed to just annihilate them? And another concern that Arjuna had was Prabhupada was saying that Arjuna, how did he say? He said that Arjuna was looking for an excuse not to fight. So he was arguing his point to Kṛṣṇa, and to make his point, he was addressing Kṛṣṇa as Janārdana, protector. You are the protector. How can you kill everybody? And that's one maintainer of the people. Another one was Akrura. Akrura also addresses the Lord as Lord Janārdana. And he has this beautiful prayer in the 10th canto. And it goes like this. It is by our great fortune, Janārdana, that you are now visible to us. For even the masters of yoga and the foremost demigods can achieve this goal only with great difficulty, to see Lord Kṛṣṇa. please quickly cut the ropes of our illusory attachment for children, wife, wealth, influential friends, home and body. All such attachment is simply the effect of our illusory material energy. So again, Krishna is addressed as Janārdana because he is the maintainer of all. And here, Akrura is asking to just cut the ropes of attachment. We all have influential friends, and we have people that we cherish, and to cut those ropes. So he's asking Krishna, please help me this way. And I was also wanted to touch on the on Guru, the parameters that the Guru gives to the disciples. Like the Guru gives the parameters to achieve that, how to please Lord Janārdana. So, and also, I would like to later, talk about Lord Srihadev. So doing this Janārdana is, and then the Guru, So the Guru gives us the parameters, how do we act in Krishna consciousness so we can please the Lord? Because pleasing the Lord is the most, is the highest engagement in devotional service. And Prahlāda Maharaj, he mentions the 9 processes of devotional service. There's Shravanam, that is hearing. Let's do a little interactive here. Anybody know a devotee, a story that is hearing? That is a devotee? Maharaj Parikshit. Yeah, that's the best example. There's a great story of Maharaj Parikshit while he was hearing. He was hearing the Bhagavatam. When Shukadeva Goswami was hearing the Bhagavatam, there was this one, he asked Parvati to stay alert. We will only glorify the Bhagavatam if she stays alert. But she fell asleep while he was, but there was a parrot on a tree that was listening attentively. And that parrot came Shukadeva Goswami. I think that's awesome. So yeah, hearing. The 9 processes. Number 2 is chanting. So those are all ways that we engage our senses to please the Lord. And chanting, we mentioned Shukadeva Goswami. He is like the speaker of the Bhagavatam. And he gets so excited about the questions that Parikshit is presenting to him. He gets really enlivened and to speak more and more about Krishna, because the more we speak about Krishna, there is an effect in your soul. So, and it transmits to your intelligence, to your mind and your body, and everything gets charged up with spiritual energy. And once you get the taste of spiritual energy, you don't want anything else. That's how, we get our strength and our determination to stay in devotional service, to stay because we have the taste. And the taste is by following Guru instructions, and the Guru gives you, how to act in the world so you don't go astray. And chanting, so now Vishnu Smaranam, remembering Krishna. A remembrance of Krishna. Any ladies? Who remembered Krishna? Always and never forgot Krishna. Prahlāda Maharaj, yes. Yes, Prahlāda Maharaj was, the emblem of of remembrance of Krishna. He was a child. And we have a child here. Imagine a child, father being, throwing the child from the top of a mountain and throwing the child in a pit of snakes and, being stepped by elephants, all this. But Prahlāda Maharaj, he's we can't compare, but he's a Mahajan, so he's a really enlightened being, and his mind did not wave, not even a second. And Prahlāda Maharaj, he proved that remembering Krishna gives you all protection. Even when Lord Nrsimhadev had actually appeared, everybody was so afraid, everybody was so fearful. The Lord was angry, and he was, doing all the, the growling, the lion. It was like every sound that he made. Ladies that were pregnant, they had a miscarriage. It was like Lord Nrsimhadev's vibration, and the frequency of his voice was permeating the ether in such powerful way that created all this havoc among the demons. And so in Prahlāda Maharaj, even Lakshmi Devi, she was afraid of coming near her husband because, of that fierce form. But, they said, Prahlāda, please, you go. And Prahlāda fearlessly, because, he was so sure of the Lord's protection that, he came and the Lord got pacified. And that's how Lord Nrsimhadev is there's a say, I'm not sure where, but you can Google it and find it. There's a new Google search called the HareKrishnaSearch.com that is all with Hare Krishna, all with the authorized by our ISKCON Prabhupada search. So there's this say that that Prahlāda Maharaj, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyways, so remembering is Prahlāda Maharaj. In Pada Sevanam, the 9 process of devotional service, the 4th one, serving the lotus feet. Who serves the lotus feet of the Lord constantly? Lakshmi Devi. She's there, and imagine, she's always massaging the Lord's lotus feet, always serving his lotus feet. And Lakshmi Devi, she saw, she wanted to go into Vrindavan, and so she was told to say, hey, you have to, make some austerities. And so she did austerities for a long time. And then and said, oh, and you also have to be married to somebody else. So there is a parakya rasa to get into Braj. And she couldn't do it because the Lord is her husband. She couldn't think of being married to anybody else to have that relationship with the Lord. Now that's Lakshmi Devi. And number 5 is Archanam, deity worship. Deity worship, we have Lord Ambarish. That's the one that I think of, because he was doing everything for the Lord. He was engaging all his senses in a temple worship. Do you think of anybody else in deity worship, Archanam? Yes. Prithu Maharaj. Yes. Prithu Maharaj was empowered incarnation of the Lord. Fantastic devotee. Next one, Vandanam, praying. That prayer that Akrura prayed, it was very beautiful. In prayers, we have the Damodarastakam, and Satyavrata Muni, he had that prayer, and all the Vaishnavas are so happy by saying the prayer that he composed, that we sing for a whole month of Damodar, we sing that prayer. So prayer is very powerful, because you are opening your heart when you're praying, and you giving yourself. It's a way to practice surrender, because your mind is fixed, your heart is fixed, so your senses are involved in offering something to the Lord, and every contact that we have with the Lord is a plus for us. It helps us to cleanse the mind, fix our intelligence, and act in a way that this body will be engage in positive activities too. They're beneficial for your going back home, back to Godhead. So prayers, and also dasyam, executing orders. Dasyam, you serve. Who serves the Lord? Any body from the Bhagavatam comes up? What did you say? Hanumanji. Hanuman. That's a great example for executing orders, for the serving. Hanuman's heart, there's a very clear picture of Hanuman's idea of how he presents that. There's a photo, a drawing of Hanuman opening his heart. So he was all heart. His heart was completely surrendered to Lord Ramachandra. And wasn't that Kolabesha Sridhar that he was a devotee of Lord Ram, and Lord Chaitanya used to nag with him. Come on, he worshipped Krishna, and he just couldn't do it. Murari Gupta also was a devotee of Lord Ram, because once your heart is given, I guess we have to practice being Rupanugas. So we practice, because being a Rupanuga is our way to follow Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta, and so we practice that, following that line of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Okay, what's next? Sakyam. Krishna's best friend. Yeah, Narayan, Arjuna. Arjuna is there's a story of when the Pandavas are leaving the material world, and so they all go to Kailash, towards the Himalayas, and so it was all five Pandavas and Draupadi. So they were all climbing, and the first to give up the body was Draupadi, and it's explained that why was she, what was her fault? Why did she have to die in that way? And her fault was that she liked Arjuna better than all the other husbands. So she preferred Arjuna because I guess, he was the one who, pierced the arrow to the eye of the fish, and, so he won her fair and square. So that was her fault. She had 5 husbands, but she favored Arjuna. Yeah, Arjuna, great warrior. And they were saying the next one was Nakula, and he was proud of his dexterity with the horses. And then there was Sahadev. He was those are the faults why they were falling. Sahadev was very proud of his looks. He was really beautiful. He was, the son of the Ashwin Kumaras, that they were very, very beautiful gods. And Bhima. And then Arjuna fell. And Arjuna fell because he was proud of his skill as a warrior. Now imagine, these were pure devotees. They were associates of Lord Kṛṣṇa. And because they had these, because, he was proud of his skill. And he was such a powerful warrior. And he had, Yamaraj kind of took him down because of it. And then Bhima's problem was that he took pleasure in killing, in making his enemies suffer. He killed, but he took pleasure in it. And the only one was Yudhishthira, was left. Yudhishthira had no fault. And there was a dog with them that followed them. And this dog, so when it was time for Yudhishthira to pass away, and he said, "I will not go," not because he was he was giving the passage to heaven, because he was so faultless. And he said, "I will not go without the dog. There's no way." And he said, "So if you don't go, you're going to have to go to where your brothers and your wife are. They're in suffering in hell because of their faults." And so he said, "Okay, I'll go to hell." And he went with the dog, and the dog was Yamaraj himself. And it was a test of his, his heart. And but it was all an illusion. None of the Pandavas were suffering. It was another test to the Yamaraj. So, what can we expect at the time of death, when we are ready to pass away? How many faults do we see in ourselves? How many? How much we're going to have to suffer if any little bit of material desire will impede us to go back to Godhead. So the process of devotional service is a serious matter. We need to be very attentive and very willing to daily and every second of the day to commit to act according to Guru and Krishna, and according to the Lord's advice in the Shastras. And, we are very fortunate to be here in Mayapur, because here is the land of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. And Lord Nityananda, he wasn't asking, to do, you have to be very strong, you have to be, very detached, you have to do many austerities. No, he was knocking on people's door and say, "Please chant Hare Krishna. All you need is to be sincere." And that sincerity is your ticket to go through the mercy, to swim in an ocean of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda's mercy. And so staying strong and with sincerity in your heart, very important for our practice. And ātmā nivedanam, complete surrender. Another example of a complete surrendered soul, Bali Maharaj. Yeah, Bali Maharaj. Boy, Bali Maharaj was the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. So talk about a line of a genealogy line that is very powerful. And he was so powerful. He was the king of all the universe. He defeated the demigods. He was in charge of everything. But he wasn't like Hiranyakashipu. He was his heart. He could because he had Prahlad Maharaj's. I guess Prahlad Maharaj's genes were so infused with devotion that it passed on to his next generations, and he surrendered. He surrendered. And this chapter is the story of Vamanadev. And Vamanadev, how we're going to see the story of Vamanadev is that the Lord came to rescue, the demigods from all the havoc that had been created by, Bali Maharaj was in charge of everything in the universe. Imagine Indra and Agni. Oh, Agni Dev. We are in America right now. Agni Dev is devouring the whole, almost, cities, and so Agni Dev, very powerful. But Bali Maharaj was controlling all of them, and but when it was time to check his sincerity, he knew that yesterday the class we were talking about how when you disobey your father, this is part of this chapter, and when you disobey your father for material, and Srila Prabhupada gave us, the 4 regular principles. We have the no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. And if we follow these principles, this is just to become civilized. Because we are, I see a lot of problems in ISKCON temples. There was a time that ISKCON had many problems with devotees, dealing drugs, using the temples for dealing drugs, or, devotees that were in charge of communities, engaging in illicit sex, devotees that were, they were, breaking all the principles. When you break those principles, Kali comes with a vengeance. So it's important that we maintain the principles of a civilized life. And Srila Prabhupada gave us the parameters for how to become civilized and how to control your senses, because the senses want to go and enjoy everything and taste everything and touch everything, but no. This restraint is an offering to the Lord. And you're very lucky here in Mayapur, because you have Lord Nrsimhadev. And under Lord Nrsimhadev's protection, everything is possible. And Nrsimhadev is if you have any problem, and if you're struggling with any desire that you just because we come from past lives, we have to cleanse our heart. So the more we chant, but we need help. And help comes from Lord Nrsimhadev. Lord Nrsimhadev will not give you up. He will always be there for you. You can be sure of that. And this Nrsimhadev here is so mystical, and he's far-reaching, because I worship him on my altar every day when I'm at home. And this Nrsimhadev, and he's the picture that I have is a picture of him with wearing an outfit that I made for him. So I sent it through a devotee, and he took a picture for me. So my relationship with this Nrsimhadev is very, very many years. And as soon as I got here, and I'm going to reveal this to you. I was at the GEV, at the Govardhan Health Retreat, Govardhan Eco Village, for the month of December. And there, the devotee of Madana Mohan, because there are different temples, the devotee of Madana Mohan gives tulsi leaves for after the Mangalartik. He puts tulsi leaves, some for the men, some for the women. And I was always taking a tulsi leaf, putting in my mouth, and just leaving there while I chant. So first day I was here, I look at Lord Nrsimhadev in the altar, and so I was thinking, boy, it would be so nice to have a tulsi leaf from Lord Nrsimhadev. But, it was over, and then we went to Panchatattva, and I was in front of Panchatattva. This lady behind me came and said, "Here, some tulsi from Lord Nrsimhadev." So, these little touches that the Lord gives you, it's like it's a confirmation that He's here, and He can hear you. He's here, and He can relate to you, and you can be sure that He can hear what you're thinking, that He can, understand your problems, or your glorifications of Him. He can hear. And in our devotional service, we need to cleanse our hearts, from material desires, and our devotional service need to be the anyabhilasita sunyam, jnana karmadi anavritam. Yeah, no jnana, no karma, we have to aim for pure devotional service. That's why being a Rupanuga is so important. And Srila Rupa Goswami, the one that describes pure devotional service like that, Anukulyana Krishna Anu Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama. The highest level of devotional service needs to be unmotivated, for the pleasure of Krishna, for the pleasure of Janārdana. And Janārdana is the one that protects everyone. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. That Lord Janārdana is the maintainer of all the living entities, and He accepts all the results of our sacrifice. So any sacrifice, Lord Janārdana is the one that receives. And also that through the Guru's instructions and by following our rules of engagement for the material world, we are protected from the onslaughts of Maya. And with the help of Lord Nrsimhadev, the protector of the devotees, we can stay enthusiastically serving Guru and Gauranga. So that was my class today. If you have any questions or comments, please come forward. Yes. You need to speak up because my hearing is a little low. Is there a microphone in there? Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji, for your heartfelt class. It is really a great privilege for us to hear from Srila Prabhupada's disciples. So thank you for coming here and blessing all of us. Since you have had very long association with Srila Prabhupada, being a Srila Prabhupada disciple, maybe it would be nice to hear of some personal interactions or some inspirations in your seeing and hearing Srila Prabhupada. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Yeah, to remember Srila Prabhupada and to talk about him is always glorious. I received both my initiations from Srila Prabhupada personally, and so my first initiation, it was in New Vale Mayapur in France. It was during the installation of Krishna Balaram, and Srila Prabhupada at the time, because I came from Brazil and we speak Portuguese, and at the time my English was like non-existent really. I only learned grammar in school, English grammar. So when it was time, I was in front of Srila Prabhupada to get my beads, and he asked, "What are the principles?" So I looked at him. I didn't know how to say it in English, so I said it in Portuguese. I said, "It's this one, this one, this one, and this one." And I looked at him, and he kept looking at me. It was like, he was observing. He was, because, he couldn't understand what I said. And then he looked one side, looked the other side. But, so he focused on me. And that was the beginning of, because I knew, it was the same look that I had from him in a Vyasa-san when I joined. It was just a picture of Prabhupada. But so I knew that Prabhupada was present in his picture. That was like a confirmation, because I felt exactly the same connection. Because when I saw Prabhupada in the Vyasa-san, when I joined in a picture, I had that connection with him. I knew immediately that he is my guru. And then when I saw him personally, there was that confirmation. He looked at me. And then for my second initiation, it was in Vrindavan, and it was just him and he was sitting on his desk, by his desk, and he came and he told me to sit here. So he was sitting here, and I was sitting right beside him. And he gave me a paper, and he was pointing. So I had his hand was right here near my face, and it was in that moment, Prabhupada's energy and his aura and the vibration that came out of his body, it was so luminous. And it was palpable, when somebody has an energy that it vibrates beyond the physical body. And so I was inside that aura, and it was a very peaceful, and it was very bright, and it was a sense of fearlessness, and there was a calm in his presence that I carried that with me, the feel of being near him, that carries me, because I'm very sensitive to energy and vibration, and Prabhupada's I always remember I can remember right now, I can feel it. Just by remembering it, I can feel it again. So it's, I used to take, this was in Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, I used to take care of Prabhupada's tulsis in front of his garden. And he used to walk around the temple. And I was usually taking care because there was a fence, brick fence with the tulsis on top. They were planted on top of it. So I was taking care of the tulsis, and Prabhupada was walking with all the people. And every time that Prabhupada walked by, I was pregnant then. So I kind of lower myself like this. I didn't pay obeisance. It says, just lower myself, and so I wouldn't, because he was so short. And it went by, and every time he went by, he kind of, he noticed me and then kept going. So he did like, maybe parikram to the temple in the mornings like that. And also another time, I was very grateful that I know that a lot of devotees had Prabhupada with a lot of people, a lot of temples, a lot of kirtan, a lot very busy. And for me, I was in Vrindavan, and Srila Prabhupada was listening to the Hindi translation of his Bhagavad Gita by some guy, some devotee. So he was sitting at the courtyard under the tamal tree, and every 5 o'clock every day. So I used to just go there and sit. Sometimes it was just Prabhupada and the person and me sitting, because he was just listening to the Hindi, to check his translation. And so I had these quiet moments with Srila Prabhupada. Another that touched me was my first service in Vrindavan was to make garlands. And so I was making the Guru Puja garlands. And so the devotees, the people was to bring a bunch of flowers, and they open it. So the devotees were just those yellow, orange, and what is that? Marigolds. And so I start separating the colors. They were not separating the colors for whatever reason. So I started separating the colors, and I knew that Prabhupada liked yellow. So I made orange, yellow, orange, just a simple garland. But so when it was the devotees put it on Prabhupada, he picked up the garland like this, and he looked at it, and he smiled. So I was like, okay, so he accepted my service, That was very special. So the little moments with Srila Prabhupada, it means, the world, because, it's a connection with the pure devotee is priceless. That's about it. You're very welcome. Yes, sir.
Continuing with this theme of Srila Prabhupada's stories, and a comment that you made that during the time of Srila Prabhupada's physical presence, sometimes there was...
Prabhu, can you speak up? Because there's so much noise.
During the times of his physical presence, there were sometimes nefarious activities that were going on in the temple. So I have one story about that and how Srila Prabhupada dealt with that. So this boy was never initiated. I want to say that right from the beginning. Okay. So there was this young man, this was in Washington, D.C., and he would, he's about 30, 34 maybe, something like that, a little bit older. He would move into the temple, stay for a month or two, and then move out. Move back into the temple, stay for a while. And he was always arguing and finding faults, perceivable faults, according to him, with the philosophy which justified his being a little flaky. So when Srila Prabhupada came in 1976 to Potomac, at the end of the Bhagavatam class, he raised his hand and he said, Srila Prabhupada, how do you deal with skepticism? And we thought, this is the perfect question. He's asking the perfect person because he's skeptical. Srila Prabhupada looked at him and he said, skepticism means rascalism. And we cannot deal with rascals. So shortly thereafter he moved out, and then it turned out that he was a mid-level drug dealer. And he was hiding from his connections above because he was indebted to them thousands of dollars, and that he was living in the temple as a hideout. So Srila Prabhupada just nailed him. He said, skepticism means rascalism. And within 6 months later, he was found dead. He was actually shot in the back. So we sort of felt like he got the mercy, that he was chastised by the pure devotee.
Yeah.
And that this uncleanly activity was washed out of the temple, so we were very grateful for that.
Jai.
I like I think of him, I don't say his name, because we want to keep that aspect, anonymous. But, it's something that I witnessed directly, Srila Prabhupada saying, his response to him. So thank you very much.
Jai. Yeah, when you were telling the story, I remember we were in Nivelles-Maypur, that beautiful castle in France, and Prabhupada decided to go and walk the grounds. And so there were lots of devotees going with him. And then they set up a vyasa out in the field, and all the devotees sat around. And then it was time for the prayers, and so everybody bowed down. And my daughter, she finally saw Prabhupada because she was little, so 2 years old. She couldn't see Prabhupada. So when everybody bowed down, she stand up and she said, Prabhupada, Mom, look, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada looked at her and he smiled, that big ocean smile, because she was like so surprised. Yeah, it was Prabhupada was, he was merciful to everyone. He was compassion personified. And we should carry that legacy. Just like Bali Maharaj carried the legacy of Prahlad Maharaj, we should carry that legacy of compassion in reaching out to everyone, being kind and compassionate. Not only kindness can also, like Pushpavan was saying, Prabhupada was kind to that person by cutting him off like that. That's also a pure devotee. A pure devotee knows how to give mercy. Sometimes mercy looks like, like that. It's just cutting it short. That's rascaldom. Yep. Jai. Anything else? Oh, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Thank you very much.